All right, guys, here we're talking about Season 2, Episode 4 of The Good Place.
It's a good place.
It is a good place. So what did you think about this episode?
Oh, you always set me up with the tough questions.
Of your opinion?
I liked this episode, I think. It's interesting. Some stuff happens here.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Tahani party plot. There is existential crisis Michael and midlife crisis Michael.
Okay.
Choose your own adventure. What do you want to talk about first?
Let's go with Michael.
All right. We're on Michael now.
I hated Michael this episode.
Oh!
I thought that, so when he first goes through the life crisis of like, I'm going to die and blah, 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 I was like, okay. I don't think Ted's ever had to express this emotion or something through acting because I did not think it sold. For a guy who, like 93% of what he does, I just go, that's gold, perfect. I was not into this.
Yeah, so when he like
yes,
goes on to
into
Chidi's lap or whatever. Yeah, so I remember having that moment of being like, is this,
It seems like it should be a trick because the acting is so poor that it should be acting inside of an episode.
I was like, is this like a delicious, lovely treat or like hot, wet garbage? I can't tell.
I took it as
something's
hot garbage.
going on here. Yeah. So I was
Tasted like vomit, not delicious.
So I was like, let's take a wait and see approach and see what happens from this point onward or whatever.
And then he goes on to more accept it and have the midlife crisis, Michael.
Yeah.
And I was not super into that either.
I kind of liked that part.
I don't know.
It's sort of like an upswing for me. That kind of after the opening bit that we just talked about being bad, then he's just kind of how he's been before, where he's like do you remember when he went to some other party after realizing that everything had fallen apart and people knew, and he was just like, who knows what secrets you have and all that stuff. He was like doing that stuff, whatever. It kind of reminded me of that, and he has a line like, oh God, I don't know where I put it. Something about like, we're all just corpses that have not yet begun to decay, or something like that. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I was all fine with all of that. And then the midlife crisis part made me go like, okay, like that's dumb. I like that. Honestly, I died at the line like, it's Chinese for Japan or something like that.
That was the only line I thought. Potentially in this episode that I was like was really good. This might have been my least favorite episode of the season or series so far.
Of the series?
It might be.
Yeah, so we're in like a weird territory. We've been talking about it every time.
Because there was a lot of setup and stuff, but not a whole lot of payoff. But yeah, it's Chinese for Japan. That like it was delivered beautifully. It's funny. It's just stupid enough to be perfect.
And the way they like cut from something to it. No, I think Michael's doing fine. It's Chinese for Japan. He's like yelling it over the music of the party. Like it's like very well done.
Tahani falling into the trap of like literally what they wanted. I was like, that's kind of like you kind of saw that happening. The moment she had a glimmer of, or my party will be so good that I'm like, no, you idiot, you're in hell. So they're all actors. You think all the actors are going to be like, you know what? Let me go over there.
So that was kind of sitcom-y. I do agree with that. I feel like what saved that for me was that later on she says, she starts crying, and she says,
and you love that.
Like, I love when ladies cry. No, like I love that she broke down. And so if she had been sad because no one came to her party, that would like be full on dumb. Right?
Sure.
But she was sad because they, like, wait, that's their idea of torture is, like, a party, like, mishap, and it worked? Like, she's so, like, upset that it actually got to her and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That, that she had that reaction or whatever. Because she knows it. Like, if she didn't know it.
Yeah, she knows that she is a piece of shit and that like, she's so vain that this shit will get her.
And it, like, breaks her down. My second favorite thing of the thing, because now we're talking about Tahani, we're done with Michael, apparently, was...
if you had more about Michael...
I don't have shit.
Perfect.
No, like, the thing about... so, like, I don't like Jason, right? But he was endearing himself to Tahani. And then later on, I came back and I added to the note and I said, in all caps, and me, or something like that. Because he said something, and then by the end of it, when he was like, oh, like 8's the highest, it's like a tent or whatever. Something about that was so dumb that I loved it. His like scale or whatever.
Oh, his scale is dumb. No. He's dumb. The fact that they get together is dumb.
No, you don't understand. If it was 15, like, because I'm like, oh yeah, you could have a scale. It's like a pH scale or if it's 15, 8's the highest, and you have 7 like ahead.
Yeah, but since it was not an even number.
But since it was 13, that makes absolutely no sense and all that stuff. Something about that detail, something about how dumb and how intricate that is, how like weirdly whatever, right? His whole freshness, dopeness, smart brain, all that stupid stuff. I was like, okay, but they get together. They're banging now.
Yes, and
they are soulmates, Stefan. It's all working out.
But that's bullshit too, because there's no such thing as soulmates in hell. Like that's just a construct that we have adapted to this.
Sure.
Like they're not actually
it's a human
soulmates.
Construct.
No, I hate them both.
I like Tahani's face. She made the face once before when Eleanor was like, and this caramel goddess with legs for days, or whatever she says about her, right? And Tahani was like, ooh, or something like that. She made the same face when they were waking up in bed, like, ooh, or something like that. She looks like an owl.
I took that face as like, oh God, what have I done?
Yeah, exactly.
We're fucked.
It's like the ooh thing, yeah.
Jason. I thought for a moment I was coming back around on him.
Last episode you were
not.
saying, okay. No. So like most of this episode I was like, hell no, or something like that. But that stupid conversation they have at the end, like, I'm not like on Team Jason now or something like that. But I was
Team
watching,
Jason confirmed.
I was watching
Lee is the president of Team Jason.
Yeah. No, like, something about that particular thing or whatever, right? But I also hate it so like, do you want to go back and nitpick everything and hate everything? Because I can do that too. We can do 2 takes.
Whatever you like.
Everything. No, literally. So like, him and Janet didn't like know how to have sex or whatever. It was this whole plot point and this whole funny thing or something like that. I guess that was just because Janet has some unique physiology or whatever.
Yeah, Janet may not have any orifice.
But like, she has to know what a human is. So why don't you just do that? It's very confusing because he seemed to instantly be able to have sex with Tahani.
Her being called, what was it, Jeanette?
Jeanette.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's decent.
I love that.
I thought it was funnier though when I thought that she was like a clone of Janet, and then when I realized it was Janet, I was like, oh, is that good? Is that bad?
And she still does that. So he's like, let's get some food on you. And she's like, I do not eat. And it's like, and like as he's pushing her, she just feels the need to like correct him and say that those like flat, like deliver things. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Eleanor and Chidi for this episode.
Were they in this episode?
I was like, I have they left no impact on me at all.
Yeah. Well, so we should take a quick step back. Mm-hmm. This is that whole thing where we said like, okay, Michael's going to be at the classes, but that's dumb. That's transparently insane.
Yes.
Right. So like, how's that going to go? Okay, it's day 1. What's going to happen?
And it was break him.
Yeah, like it was almost like what we had talked about might happen of him like giving horrible demon advice because he's like a demon, right? They kind of did that where it's like, well, he's out of touch with this ethical thing, right? And I kind of like that aspect of it. If they would give it more than 3 lines of dialogue and like dig into it, I'd be a little more into like ethics being like, because you are not immortal, we have a concept of ethics. I've never thought about that before. Like that's kind of interesting. But they don't really spend any time on it. They just kind of like introduce it.
I feel like that's also introduced as a like a means for this episode in particular, because you could totally have ethics and be immortal because you're stuck living with something forever. I feel like it would be all about who the person or being is in the first place.
Right. So like Chidi talks about these things like, well, this philosopher argued this or whatever. He like presents different stuff. He's dropping all these names, and like I saw like a little, not a spoiler, but the next episode's name is The Trolley Problem, which is a famous ethics problem that I love or whatever. So like I'm actually into it on like that angle of stuff where you can actually bring up concepts of like, well, Kant said this, and this person Descartes was arguing that the self was the, and all those dumb things or whatever. But they don't really do
Chidi walks away from this show, or the guy that plays Chidi, it's just a scholar. I've had to learn so much.
Well, I don't know if you had to learn anything is like my criticism. The show's tight. It's like, it's like doing the show during the credits, right? It does not have time to get into all this philosophy. It's dropping stuff, drive-by philosophy really quick. I get that. I'm fine with that. But yes, it's like day 1, and it opens with him being like, I'm a stupid human. And then them going, wait a minute, he doesn't understand like people or something like that. And
I've got sticks with sticks coming out of them.
Yeah. My arms end in little sticks. Ha! So quaint, or whatever, right? Yeah, there's a lot of like dumb stuff, like bad jokes happening, weird things happening. By the end, though, Eleanor's thing of like, we're all going to die someday, and we all know we're all a little sad, or whatever. I was like, oh, that's interesting, fuck, or something like that. Little things like that, right? I'm like into the show for that reason. I like the idea of accidentally exposing people to different concepts in like ethics or philosophy or something like that. So like I'm on board for that type of stuff.
I'm on board for a show with good actors and generally an interesting and fun plot. But this episode I didn't think was on that same level.
We're still in that phase of like the show eventually has to be. And I think the next one being the trolley problem will be that, like, lessons in ethics. And
sure.
Like, that's what I wanted, was like, hey, Jan's not an android, whatever she is, fake AI. Yeah. We have an idiot from Florida, a demon. Right? We have this like mixture of people that can all interpret the ethical lessons differently and apply them differently. The other place is a melting pot. Yeah, that's what I wanted like the show to be. So every week just tackle like a different high level concept or something like that, and like knock it all down, but also be good and be funny and all that stuff too. So
yeah, we'll see.
I don't know if that necessarily.
What is the name of the demon in charge now? What is her?
Vicky.
Yeah, we'll see what Vicky has in mind. It seems like she is better than Michael, even with her very simple.
Yes.
It did cut to the point, and it did break to honey.
And that was interesting too. Honestly, that's a weird lesson to take away from it, because like I kind of liked the scene where he's like, "Here are my torture plans," and she's like, "Oh my God, what are you torturing me? Oh, 1 page next time, pictures. None of this."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I had so many good ideas, but yeah, they just off the cuff. Oh, this guy just thought of it. Let's do a party offer thing. Oh.
Yeah.
And it just worked, right? Yeah.
Well, and it's more fun for all of them too. They get to screw around and play.
They're messing with
whatever.
unicorns though. Did you catch the quick thing? Build a real bear.
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
All those little dumb animal jokes or whatever.
Eleanor had the opportunity. She could have been flying.
I know, and she didn't
do it. Take it.
They should have referenced that.
This would have been the first time though too. So she should have been she was all about it the first time. I don't know why she wasn't all about it this time.
Exactly.
So timelines are messed up. She's changed as a person fundamentally.
No, and like I still don't like that. I think I would have liked the show to start, and maybe this only happens once. I don't know how this works. I would have liked the show to just have like the next season start, and it's just day one again, and we have to just do it again, but it's different this time. I think I would have enjoyed that more than like we had so many loops and so many things happen, and I spent the whole season with them, and now I'm like, okay, wait, so it's been a little while and they've done this, but have they done that? I guess not. Wait, no, they did do that. I don't know, like this, right?
No, it's annoying as a viewer because you assume in every show, and not everything is displayed on screen. Things are happening behind the scenes. Things are happening here and there. To not know if your character is ever the character you know or does the same things you think your character would do, and clearly in this episode doing something against what that character did in a previous episode. Everything is impacting and changing everything else. It's weird for me that they did it after like 6 days or whatever, like this reset, that one that they're running with now. It just seems a little too soon. We didn't get the characters to be enough of the characters we know.
And we talked about that before. They probably should have papered over that or like referenced it or done something about that or whatever. I would have liked that better. Last thing. Because of this whole thing, explaining to Michael about the mortality of humans and what that does to us or whatever, I think that might be eventually like a backdoor into Michael concluding that the good place, bad place paradigm is like flawed. That you can't expect people to adhere to certain good things due to like what it's like to be a human or whatever.
I don't know.
Because, Eleanor was dropping that for a long time. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't there be a medium place? And there is, but it sucks, right? All those references, right? So I think Michael, having never thought about, like, we torture humans because they were bad, but now he's like, wait a minute, how could you, like, he says here, like, how does anyone ever do anything? Or something like that, right? Like, how hard it is to be alive or whatever.
More likely, based on it being a TV show, you're going to end up with a season where, like, Michael's, like, made a human and he's being tortured, or they do make it to heaven and it's Michael's, like, as the fish out of water in heaven now, trying to, like, I gotta maintain I'm good type of thing.
Surely we'll just do this.
Yeah, some bullshit. We know there's at least 4 seasons of this show, so it's a good chunk to explore.
Yeah. I'm going to take it with an open mind. I'm hoping we're going to shake off some more of this cruft of the setup and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Eleanor's parents are horrible. There were some flashbacks. I don't think we have to get into that. I really liked the, did she just slip you her hotel room key? And he's like, she did. Something like that. And I'm like, oh, God. Right? Like.
Now, her mom is terrible, but aged perfectly. Like, where she looked almost exactly the same as she did when Eleanor was like 8.
Well, yeah. Because,
science.
What are you going to do?
Botox. What are you going to do?
Okay. That's The Good Place.
That's this episode of The Good Place. Guys, let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.